A 30-year business journey and the step it took to bring it to a seven-figure brand today on Brand Tales.
Brand Tales, all your brand tales. Listen to how the greatest brands came to be.
Welcome to Brand Tales. I am your host, Holly Chantel, and today I have a very special guest, Belanie Dishong. Belanie is the CEO at Live at Choice, where she leads experiences helping people overcome the blocks that are keeping them down and build businesses and lives and relationships that are unlimited. Belanie has been in business for the last 22 years, though her journey started about 30 years ago, and she has just a fascinating story to share on how she got to where she is from really just a spark of an idea and a deep, deep experience that was her calling to share with the world what she had to offer. So I think you're really going to enjoy today, and let's go ahead and get started.
So welcome, Belanie, to Brand Tales. I am so excited to have you here.
Well, thank you, Holly. It's an absolute pleasure and really exciting for me to spend this morning with you. So thanks.
I have invited Belanie because her brand is just amazing. Like what she does is just very, very unique. And Belanie, I'm gonna kind of turn it over to you to explain what it is you do because I don't think I could do it justice.
Thank you. As I often think, I'm not so sure I do it justice either. First off, let me say this. I am an experiential coach. And what sets that apart is that I move you out of your brain, out of your head, and connect you with your heart. And when your mind and your heart are connected, miracles occur. And so through that experiential involvement in the techniques and the processes that I've developed, what occurs is people discover exactly what it is that's in their way. You know, people always saying, I know I'm getting in my own way, and that's great. But no matter what they seem to do, what people continue to say to me over and over is I still end up right back where I was with the same repeating patterns.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that process, we actually discover what I call core filters. And those filters are the very thing that has you be the problem. And I say that very strongly, very boldly, and very direct that you are the problem. And that's the good news because we are the solution and we really don't need to be fixed. So the process that we go through is a process that allows us to be free of those filters and we live an amazing version of ourselves afterwards.
Beautiful. And just to kind of clarify the filters word, is that is another word for that like limiting beliefs?
Actually,
Or how do they
that's
differ?
a great question, Holly, because here's what's true. The answer to that is no. Every filter we have, some of those filters empower us
Mm-hmm.
to do really great things.
That's
And
true.
some of the filters disempower us, which means it stops us from being able to bring that greatness of ourselves to what we're wanting to accomplish or be or do and have in our lives. Imagine now that each one of these filters, and I kind of call it the 20 plus club. I don't really know how many each of us have. It's not important how many. What's important is that we find them. And one of the things that we do is we teach you and leave you with a set of tools that has you know exactly when one of these filters is preventing you from excelling. So that's the good news. We also not only help you find them, we show you how you know when they are getting in the way
Mm-hmm.
more. You know, sometimes people say, how do I know the difference between the voice between the higher self which is the gut and the one that's going to get us in trouble? And it's these tools that we teach you. But to directly answer your question, every one of these filters we have, Holly, has a litany of limiting beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
So we can spend a lifetime trying to find all of our limiting beliefs, trying to get rid of them, it's like an endless, grueling
It's like the
battle.
Hydra.
Yeah,
Cut
it's
off
like
the head, two more show up.
exactly, absolutely. So what becomes available is that as you find the filter that it's really the source. These filters are the source of these limiting beliefs. So as we find the filters, the beliefs just melt away and a whole new set of beliefs go into place. It's the ones you've been trying to affirm and failed at over many, many occasions where we have repeating patterns that we really want to have changed.
Great. And I love how you explain that. It's such a unique way of looking at it. So looking at the filters being kind of um, the reflection of a lot of different beliefs you have, and how when you change one, it can change everything.
Right.
And I know that you've seen with your clients, it does change everything.
It changes it all. When I first started doing my workshops back in '93, and that was 1993. Before long, we'll have to say when,
I
right?
know.
1993. I would, people would think that it was going to be some grueling process. It was going to be a difficult process. And it's really just a conversation.
Mhm.
And through that conversation, they emerge. And that, I just had a client, one of my clients, I was doing a coaching with her on Tuesday, and she's speaking today. And she's a brand new client, and she was really worried about getting on that stage. She was
Mhm.
concerned about a lot of things that was going to impact her delivery. And I just told her, I said, you know what? We're going to go find out what that is. And we found it. And we found the filter. And then she could see all of these lined up beliefs that continue to impact her relationships, her
Mhm.
career, the way she is with money, the way life shows up for her spiritually in every dimension. If you can imagine every little corner of your life, one of those filters can hold you short of the desired results and dreams that you're looking for.
Mhm.
And so when we finished with the process with her, it was interesting what she said to me. And she said, I did years of therapy. And what I want to say is I'm not a therapist, and this is not about not having therapy. She said, but the approach that you're doing is like a soft place to land and really be free of stuff in moments,
Mhm.
just in moments. And that, I think that's the thing that just keeps me going with it. It just keeps me going, Holly.
And what actually got you started in this?
A moment of my own crisis. But I mean, how many people have stories like this, right?
Mhm.
It's important because our stories are exactly what takes us into the part of our life that where we really can deliver on where we want to make a difference for ourselves and with others. My story is probably a little more deeper in its emotion than a lot of people have to go to. And
Mhm.
that's just what I did, right? So I was 35 years old and a mother of three kiddos, great, awesome kiddos. And I was very successful professionally. And I might say I looked pretty good in those years too. The thing I want to say about this is it's that outside package that looks good and you don't really know what's going on for somebody on the inside.
Mhm.
And I was a disaster in the area of romantic marriage relationship, a disaster.
Mhm.
And I found myself in a divorce that I was devastated over, devastated. And I really drove myself all the way to the bathroom floor and woke up one morning on that bathroom floor realizing that not only was I not making it in relationships and all the things I thought I had to escape, because this was a suicide attempt.
Mhm.
So I found that there I was, I hadn't even made that work. And so
Mhm.
I knew that I had something bigger that I was going to have to discover in my life. And I heard these words, have it be how it be for any individual. For me, I heard these words, and they were, you are the common denominator. And when I settled on that floor with those words, it was like they were vibrating in my heart.
Mhm.
And Holly, I had never looked at life like I was the common denominator. It was like I would get up in the morning and I would just do what the circumstances seemed to dictate.
Mm-hmm.
And one day would roll to the next and the next and the next. And I never saw that there was anything I could do. Nothing that it never even dawned on me there was anything I could do to change the path of the way things showed up in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And as I laid there on that floor, I thought, okay, then that means if I'm the common denominator and I look through my life with a real strong magnifying glass lying on that bathroom floor before I ever got up, and I knew that then something in here was what I needed to find.
Mm-hmm.
That all the things that I searched for answers out there didn't exist. They would fail me over and over and over because and so what I saw and discovered, and this was over now a period of time after that, it wasn't all occurring on that bathroom floor. I was a pretty sick cow that day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I stood up, I knew that when I stood up, I was making a very strong promise and a very strong conviction. And my promise was that marriage and relationship work, that people could live in the experience, which this is a primary word, in the experience of love, not just the knowledge of love.
Mm-hmm.
And I somehow knew that to do that, it was going to have to come I was going to have to learn to live from the inside out rather than the outside in my world. And that's what I accomplished. And when I accomplished that, everything changed. How I was with my children, how I was in family, how I saw myself, how I interacted in my business. And in 1993, that was in 85 the day that I went to the night I went to the bathroom floor. It was in 85 in July. July has a really big, all kinds of red, white, and blue firecrackers for me. It's like it was a rebirth of me as well over
Right.
that weekend. And I knew that my world was changed by 1993. And a very dear friend of mine who had been with me through all of the thick and thin of all of this said to me, you have to teach what you have done in your own life.
Mm-hmm.
You have to teach. And I remember I was on the phone with her and I thought, you are crazy, lady. You are nuts. And here we are. And so
Wow.
I started my first workshop in 1993. I had no idea, but yet at the same time, I realized I didn't have to know at that time. I just needed to follow.
Mm-hmm.
I just needed to let it come through me. And since that day, I've built a life where life comes through me, not at me.
Mm-hmm.
And I teach
Right.
others to do the same.
And that's why your story is so incredible. I hadn't actually heard that story before. So, wow. You've come, I mean, even from 85 to 93, you came a really long way. And then from 93 to now you're a seven-figure business owner. You're doing workshops all over the country, and you're helping create this impact for thousands of people.
Yes.
Tell me how that feels.
Humbling, extremely humbling. Yeah, it's very emotional for me.
Mm-hmm.
I feel I'm the one that's getting the gift.
Mm-hmm.
When someone it's interesting because people show up in my workshop and they go, I have no idea what I'm bought. I just
Right.
wanted you, right? I just wanted what you have. And there is a light that shines through me, and there's a light that shines through all of us. And I'm all about brightening that light.
Mm-hmm.
And so when people are around me, and this is not, I want to be really clear about this. This is not something I've done. It's something that I've allowed to come through me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really my humbleness about it is yes, it's a company that's really growing and we're doing well and we're training other people how to do exactly the same thing that I do because I'm not special. I just stepped into a promise.
Mm-hmm.
And we all step into promises. And so often, and I work a lot in the entrepreneurial world, as you know. I'm not all about the entrepreneurial world in my work because people bring their spouses and their kiddos and their neighbors and friends. And so I have a very diverse community. However, in the entrepreneurial world, and I think probably in the world for everyone, what I see so often and so much is the struggle of trying to make things be a particular way. And it doesn't have to be done that way. And it's really pretty effortless
Right.
to be present to the experience of that love and deliver on your dreams. Because what happens is you get out of, like you say, you get out of your own way once you know what it is. We all have this thing I call the survivor.
Mm-hmm.
And to just give you a number one job of that survivor within us. When I say we have a survivor and a higher self, the survivor is your gatekeeper. But the problem is, while it thinks it's protecting you, it's actually preventing you from living your greatness.
Mm.
So I
Right.
teach you how to retire your own gatekeeper so that you can live at your fullest.
Great. And I want to talk a little bit about your brand because I know that like you said, so many people, especially in our industry, have this story of how they were called to do what they're doing. And sometimes it's very difficult to take that story and that epiphany and that message and turn it into a brand. But you have done that very successfully. So, can you tell me kind of what the path was to coming to creating the Live at Choice brand?
I got the right people behind me. I'll start off with that. It's critical. I got
Mm-hmm.
the right people behind me from a business standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
The number one thing for my success is I got the right people behind me. And what I mean by that is I went from 1993 to 2011
Mm-hmm.
not knowing how to make it a business. And I watched this over and over with entrepreneurs that have such a passion, and what they have brings such enormous value and possibility. And what happens that I'm experiencing it, I experienced it, so I can speak from it, standing very boldly in my words about it, is that there's two things we need. We need to emotionally learn how to get out of our way, truly, like I'm speaking about, and we have to get the professional guidance of coaches that know how to take who you are and water it and have it bloom into the business
Mm-hmm.
that is necessary. I didn't know how to build a business.
Right.
It was a disaster. No, it wasn't a disaster. It just wasn't going anywhere.
Right.
So if you can imagine, once I hired two people first off. I hired a business coach and I hired a branding coach. Now, the branding coach went from the external image of my brand. I'm still pretty solid me.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't about changing me. It was about bringing around me everything that complemented who I am, what my voice is.
Mm-hmm.
And in that process, I matured and bloomed into it. And then the next thing I did, which I did about 6 months ago, was I upped the brand. And so here's the thing. This is what's so powerful is I said to people that coached me and said, how come y'all didn't give me this part 5 years ago? And they went, could you have done it? And I'm going, no, couldn't have done it, right? So the most important role I think we have individually that have something they've promised and they're passionate about. I don't say I'm gifted. I just followed the request, okay?
Mm-hmm.
We're all gifted and we don't always follow the request. So that was my job to do that. And then my second job was to follow the lead of the people that I put the confidence in to help me grow it to its vision. Because my vision is the Live It Choice vision is all people live present to the experience that love is.
Mm-hmm.
And all people is a lot of people on the planet.
Right.
I know that we're not the only ones that bring that about. I just know that what we do does bring it about in a large way with a large contribution. So I follow that vision. And about 18 months ago, I realized that my brand it's kind of like I started in the beginning in elementary school. No, I started in day school, right? Preschool.
Right.
And then on my own, I got it to elementary. And then I started getting coaches that got me to junior high. And there was this big leap from junior high that took place about 18 months ago in our brand that took me from that to a legacy.
Right.
And we're building a legacy. My vision is in a lot of my branding now that we're launching our brand new website. We have a temporary page up on it, and we're about ready to launch it in the next few weeks. And that, if you go there to liveatchoice.com, what you see is this pier. And so my vision has always been that when I reach the end of my pier, which is the journey on this life, then it continues.
Right.
And it goes and goes as long as there's a request internally and a request externally, then it continues. And so we're building that legacy now.
Right.
And it's just awesome.
That's such a neat transition to go from building your personal brand and your business to building something that is so much bigger than you.
You know, I went from doing things to being things. And that's what my work teaches. From doing to being, and from impressing to connecting. And when we connect, there's no need to impress.
Right. So I just want to pull out just a couple nuggets for the listeners that I was hearing as you were talking about that journey. And one was that when you created a brand, it was not inauthentic to yourself. Like, it was an authentic representation of yourself. It was almost like when you recognized who you were in the brand, it gave you a boost of confidence, like you lived into it. And I find that with all of my clients, because we focus so much on personality, that I know exactly where you're talking about that shift where it's like, this is me and this is who I am. And I just want everyone to note that's a huge step.
Yeah, and what I want to call attention to that you just did is when you said, this is me, and you moved forward, that's the representation of, and it's how it's felt for me all this time, is stepping into the brand.
Right.
There's connection, there's identity of the brand, there's doing the brand, there's being the brand, and then there's stepping into the brand. And it's like stepping on a stage that it's just undescribable. It's undescribable. So you're right on. You're so right on, Holly.
And what changed in your business when you did that? When you stepped in, you were living up to it.
It's growing.
That was when it started.
That's where it really started to take off. It's where it really, really started to take off. And I got bolder about the decisions I made. I got bolder about taking risk and investing in that growth and in investing in people coming into the organization. Yesterday, I got the greatest insight yesterday morning as I sit and write my creation statements. It's part of my system that I teach. And so I was writing the creation statements, and I had the word confidence come to me. And I thought, why is this coming to me? And it's like, reveal to me. I have this thing called reveal to me. And I went, okay, reveal to me. I'm hearing this word multiple times, and I'm confident. So what is it that's the lesson in this word for me today? And what I heard was the insight. And the insight was, now it's your confidence in them, not you. And so my job now is to follow the process let it continue to come through me and follow the process in the way that I can see each and every one of my coaches and each and every one of the people that work within Live at Choice. I can see them as they step into the brand.
Mm-hmm.
And so I embody that confidence for them as they're in the journey to step into the brand.
Right. That makes total sense.
Yeah,
It's
it's like, wow. It's just,
it's so
wow.
cool. I'm so glad we're having this conversation. And for those of you that don't know, Belanie and I met just a couple months ago at an event, and um, we were both sponsoring, and we had a really great conversation that night at dinner. And when I first talked to you, you had said, you talked a little bit about the filters and that you help people get out of their own way, which is something that you hear quite often with coaches. Like, I help people get out of their own way. And I just want to point out how, even though so the words sound the same. I help people get out of their own way. And I want to point this out because there's a lot of coaches that feel this challenge. Well, what I do, other people do, or sounds the same. It's not. And that's what where the brand makes the differentiator, is
Yes.
the brand is your unique methodology, your philosophy, who you are and what you are bringing to the table with your story and your experiences. And you've been able to take those common words and make them mean something that is so much more, and that is getting you this national recognition and this really loyal following. So I just want to kind of um, honor you for that and for creating this space for people.
Thank you. Um, yeah, it's a tough challenge, as long as your head's in the middle of it.
Right.
When your
Right.
head's in the middle of it, then that shows up as too many, you know, too many coaches in my field, too much competition in my field. And I'm going to tell you, we could take every single solitary coach in the world and line them up, and we could line up every human being in the world, and we could say, okay, they're all experts in what they do. Go to yours
Right.
and watch the migration, because we truly, through who we are and what we bring to the voice that we're speaking, what we bring to that, is what's the differentiator and the system that we put together. And even if coaches come out of the same certification, there's it's what they bring that
Mm-hmm.
actually brings people to them. There are people that would never come to me.
Right.
And I'm okay with that.
Right, because
I'm
they're
really
not
that
your people.
they're not supposed to be, right?
Right.
And then there are those that come to me that wouldn't go anywhere else.
Right. Oh,
You
I love
know?
that. I love that. So there's people that won't come to me, but then there's places that won't go anywhere else. That
Yeah.
is no truer statement. That's
Yeah, in
awesome.
my advanced courses, I have people, I don't know, I would say on the average 4, 5, 6 years, some
Mm-hmm.
longer. And I have people that started in 1993 that still show up to my big 3-day event every year, Living Your Amazing Life. And they're still playing,
That's
right?
awesome. And
Yeah.
I also want to point out that, part of the reason, and I'm assuming here, that you waited so long to get the help in the branding is that it wasn't available in 1993.
I don't know if it was or not, but I know one thing for sure, and this is a key point. I wasn't available.
That's true. You weren't quite there yet. And now there's so many resources out there, that, there's really no excuse to be waiting to get that help you need to move into that space.
I'll tell
So,
you
oh, go ahead.
the one thing that kept me from having a coach for so long was I thought, first off, I didn't even classify myself as a coach at all. It's like, no, I'm not that. I don't do what coaches do. I do something different.
Hmm.
I finally said, okay, great. So I'll be a coach and I still do something different. Whatever we want to call me, I don't care. That was a big grow up. But one of the things, Holly, that may make a difference for others that are listening to this is that I thought that if I hired a coach, then it was going to tell my clients that I didn't know it all. And boy, am I glad I found out I didn't know it all. And I don't know it all.
There's a
Nor
lot
do
of
I.
lessons there.
There's a lot, and I don't want to know it all.
Right.
I just want to know what I'm supposed to have for each person I stand in front of and work with.
Great. So I want to ask you some fun questions to kind of wrap things
Sure.
up. So non business brandy questions,
Take off
more
the
like
serious
more
stuff.
fun. Yeah. So, if you were to describe your talents as superpowers, what would they be?
Oh God, as superpowers. Oh gosh, I don't even know. I know I would be flying, so I would. My superpowers are I am. It's like I fly behind you when you're talking to me, and I am able to look into the greatness of you, and I see things you can't see, and I bring them around to front and hold them in front of you to set you free.
Ooh, I like that.
It's just what I
That's
saw when you
super.
asked the question. I've never said that before, so that's what I
That's
do.
great. And what is your guilty pleasure?
Chocolate. My
Any
guilty
particular
pleasure.
kind of chocolate or just chocolate? Should I just send you
Oh
some?
man, I love chocolate. I have a brand, well, it's brand new. She's the youngest of 10 grandchildren. And she is, well, she just turned a year old in January. And I called the other day. We had her on. I get to see her on,
Yeah, the FaceTime.
on Skype. And so she's standing in the kitchen, pointing at the cabinet, going, chocolate. I said, that's my girl. So you can say chocolate. We got it, girl. So
That's
anyway,
awesome.
yes, chocolate. It's my sinful fun. It's chocolate.
That's
My
great.
husband and I will get a bar of dark chocolate with raspberry and like one of those big bars.
Yep.
Then we'll have it and we'll spend the whole week on that bar. But every night we get in bed, we just break off these squares. We both just sit there and just yummy and feel
That's
that
awesome.
chocolate.
That's
Yeah.
that's a match made in heaven right there.
Match
You
made
know
in
you have the right
Oh,
person.
I truly have that. I
That's
truly
awesome.
have
And what is your favorite tool that you use in your business?
my favorite tool that I use in my business, like a literal tool, business
Could be
function,
software tool like yeah,
Infusionsoft.
Infusionsoft.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just really is. It gives me everything I need
Yeah.
to, and we're developing it more and more, but to nurture and take care of my community.
Great. And if you were a fairy tale character, what would you be?
I would be a, I would be a, oh gosh, why am I not thinking of the word? With the wings.
A
Um,
fairy?
yes, I'd be a fairy.
Would you be a fairy or a fairy godmother? Because that's what I got when you started saying that.
Interesting. I think I'm a fairy godmother.
Fairy godmother. I think that
Yeah.
plays into your superpowers too.
Yeah, I saw that. That's what
Yeah.
I was seeing in the superpower when I was, looking at, and it's really quiet and soft.
I love that.
Yeah.
Great. So thank you so much for answering all of my questions. I love, love, love your story. And this was a lot of fun. So tell us, how do we get in touch with you if we want to learn more about what you do?
Well, visit us in my Live at Choice Facebook page, Live at Choice, and you can, visit the website. We're going to launch a new one, but there's really some interesting new look in our brand. So jump in there at liveatchoice.com.
Mm-hmm.
My next set of workshops are liveatchoice.com/beyond circumstances. I have a great free article on my website, even on the single page that's up right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they go to liveatchoice.com, pull down, it's the 12 rules of creation statement. And it's a good solid document. I mean, it's got a lot of meat in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really gives you the process to learn to be present and aware of how you speak and how you think and the impact that it has in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So, love to give that gift to your listeners.
Yes, so definitely take advantage of that gift and definitely check out Belanie's workshops because she goes all over the country. I was pretty floored when I heard your travel schedule.
Me
She's
too.
yeah,
So,
and you really, I feel like you can't fully appreciate what you do until you see it. Because for me, going when I was at that event and I saw you on stage, it was just this really powerful experience. And I actually had to leave the room because
Oh,
I, I
this
wasn't,
was
I
so
did not
powerful.
sign up for that. I had no idea what was going to happen, and I literally had to leave the room because it was just emotionally for me, it was very overwhelming, and because
Don't
I
that
wasn't prepared
differently.
for it, and it was, but it made a huge impact, like the changes that you see and just what's possible is just amazing. So definitely check her out and see if she is in coming anywhere near you, and
I,
if
I
not,
for
travel to
sure
her.
will. Travel to me.
Yeah.
There'll be a day before long that it'll all be in one central location. So
Right.
jump
Yes.
into where it's at. So
Yeah, definitely worth the traveling. But you are going so many places that are like close by to people. Um, so fantastic. Thank you
okay.
so much. I thanks everyone for tuning in to Brand Tales once again. Please, if you enjoyed this episode, definitely leave a review on iTunes or Stitcher. And if you want to get the links for these resources, maybe you missed them, they will be on the blog, so I will put them there. And if you haven't subscribed, we do these every week, and we have a different story for you and a different story of success and the gold nuggets that you can take away. So I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you, Holly.